Welcome into the DNVR Rockies Podcast, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, new customers, when you sign up using promo code DNVR, you're going to go ahead and place a $5 bet when that bad boy hits. Boom, $200 in bonus bets with code DNVR with DraftKings Sportsbook. I am Patrick Lyons.
And I am Susie Hunter. Patrick and I have legit not done a full show together in almost 3 weeks. Definitely all month. Yeah.
Last month, yeah.
Crazy.
And even in February, it's a short month to begin with.
I know.
Between the two trips there, and I was on vacation for a little bit.
You were.
You went out to the Super Bowl. So even last month, there was only a handful of shows to begin with.
We're rusty together, so settle in, buckle in. It's going to be a wild ride today.
Your opening day roster is here. Look, there are a couple non-roster guys, minor league deals that we had to fill in, you know, the other seat across from us.
Yep.
But you know what? We're back. We're healthy. All of our shoulders have been popped back into place. We're ready to rock.
Oh, too soon, Patrick. Too soon. Yeah, what a time. What a time for the Colorado Rockies right now.
Yeah, we'll break down some of the dark horse candidates that might make the opening day roster. Talk about their current losing streak, and again, it's spring training. The Red Sox are 7-0, which means still nothing.
Still nothing.
Still nothing.
Still nothing.
Probably means something that Justin Turner did get hit in the face by a pitch. Not good.
That was brutal. I didn't want to see that video either, but it happened so fast. It just came on my feed so quickly.
Yeah.
That looked awful.
You don't want to see that.
I'm so glad it's
anyone.
not worse.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I hadn't thought of this about this until right now. Like, Rockies fans, you know, if you're a Dodger player, you're going to get some scorn from Rockies fan. You might not get pure hatred, but you're going to get scorn. Now with a guy like Justin Turner in Boston, if he does a couple things, maybe upsets Yankee fans and the Yankees as a whole, you go, hey, maybe I like Justin Turner a little bit more than I had previously liked him. I could see that happening. I could see some fans kind of flopping in that way. We'll look at some other spring stories around baseball, including a very interesting one in Philadelphia. I don't know if you know about. There's a couple, but there's one. I think that's actually a better story than the more notable one about Andrew Painter. That's not the one I want to talk to you about. Not the 19-year-old crack in the rotation.
Patrick, I never know where you're going with anything. So
an extension season, right? A couple guys have gotten extensions here. Manny Machado, obviously, being the biggest one. Christian Javier at the Astros. Are there a couple Rockies candidates that could be up for that? Brendan Rodgers, we already talked about that before. Now that's not going to happen, but maybe there's still one out there.
I can think of one, definitely.
Okay. A split decision yesterday, a win against the Rangers, a loss against the Reds. Jose Urena at home, Salt River Field, 3 innings pitched, did not give up a run, a hit, a walk, 1 strikeout. Look really crisp. He is just going to be a guy that you say, you need this guy in the rotation. I enjoy watching him. He's going to be like the Jose Iglesias of the rotation, where maybe not too flashy, but you're like very valuable, almost like an old school guy where you just need to plug that guy in, let him do his thing. He's going to struggle sometimes, but more times than not, he's going to do the job. And so I'm looking forward to that role that he's going to have and bringing some consistency to the rotation.
Is he still doing his whale water blow before he pitches?
I think so. That's kind of his thing.
That game wasn't on TV as far as I know yesterday, right? No.
Are any baseball games on TV anymore now?
It's
hard to know.
No one knows. Will they be this season? Who knows? No one knows. You have to actually attend a game at Coors Field to watch a game this season, apparently.
I know about blackouts, but then what about plug outs? Like there's no plug into the wall to even record these games with everything going on. It's hopefully it gets settled soon and we'll be able to watch. I think we will, but it's just a strange time.
It's such a strange time to be a baseball fan who wants to watch baseball games.
Yeah. TJ Zoik.
One of my favorite names in baseball.
Zoik. Daniel Bard, Jeff Criswell, Fernando Abad all had scoreless outings. Daniel Bard struck out all 3. Closer for World Baseball Classic for Team USA. I've been saying maybe. He did say when I was down there, hasn't talked with anyone about his role exactly. If he comes in earlier in the games, that could be in a bigger spot, so that would make sense. But tonight, World Baseball Classic starts.
This is so exciting. I'm so stoked.
Here we go.
The first game, is it like at 11 o'clock at night?
9 o'clock our time.
Oh, it's 9 o'clock our time. Oh my gosh. I was listening to national media this morning.
How dare
I was like,
they?
11 o'clock. Oh no. I routinely forget that time zones are a thing.
You know how if you watch like UN and countries kind of having the conversations, they got the earpiece on and it just translates it almost immediately to that language. I feel like we need that sometimes out here in the West of like you just wear it and then it'll adjust the times accordingly so you know what time it is. Because you're right. Everywhere I looked, it said 11 p.m., but it would also say Eastern Standard Time. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not where I am right now. You should be able to intuitively adjust it. It does on the MLB at Bat app.
You know what?
Right?
It does. You know, when you Google things, usually it'll, change it too. There's always, I just know that so many Colorado natives have made fun of me in the past for like just not understanding time zones because East Coasters inherently never have to think about time zones.
Kinda.
So like when we go elsewhere, we get so confused.
Yeah. Well, you're a Coloradian now.
I am.
You are.
But
Your license plate says otherwise, I think still.
Don't blow me up like that, Patrick.
Right? You could get a fine for that.
Don't blow me up like that, Patrick.
I'm just saying. Did you get your backpacking pass for Rocky Mountain? I mean, I think one would usurp the other, so maybe you'd get a pass.
Well,
if you had
won't be doing any backpacking or anything on a mountain ever, so.
No? You're not a big hiker?
Do I strike you as a hiker, Patrick?
I don't know.
Have you ever heard me in the past year talk about hiking?
I didn't know if that was a New Year's resolution to become like a... you don't strike me as a hiker. You're not a hiker striker. I will say that. Aaron Shunk struck one for a home run. That was nice to see the Shunky Monkey hit a long ball. Do you? Well, that's what his dad's handle on Instagram is Shunky Monkey. His dad is a fantastic artist.
I didn't know this.
Get in now. I keep meaning to like reach out to him and being like, hey, if I like took a picture of my house, would you be able to like sketch it kind of like Pam Beasley did in The Office with the office that they work in? Dunder Mifflin, or even just something that he's had because he's just I don't think he is an architect. He may be an architect, but he also just does these amazing like hand drawings.
We definitely need something for this set from his collection of art. We need some set dressing.
Again, we take a photograph of the bar and then he could just do a sketching of it. That'll be great. Get in before Shunk makes his debut later this year, possibly.
No. Well, we need to have him sketch up like fictional situations, like Dinger taking shots at the bar.
He could do that.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Oh, I thought he was going to be like shooting a hot dog cannon at the bar.
No.
Okay, well then I'm going to have my own.
Maybe he's drinking a Breck Brew.
I like that. Does Dinger drink Breck Brew? I guess. Does he drink at all?
I don't want to know.
How does he? What is his caloric intake for a big boy like that?
Oh, it's got to be a lot.
More
than Michael Phelps.
He's very fluffy. Reds win 6-1 on the nightcap split squad. Now that's fun.
It's our first split squad of the season, right?
I want to say yes.
I think it is.
I want to say yes. And then this weekend, we got a couple more, right? Because they got the big league weekend, as it's called, in Las Vegas.
That's right.
Against the Royals.
Not this weekend, next weekend.
Yeah?
You're getting ahead of yourself.
I could be.
Big league weekend is the 17th.
Okay.
And 18th.
Got it.
Yes.
That works?
Yes.
That'll also be a split squad. I think they play the Royals. Maybe. So they play the Royals in Las Vegas, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think also back in Arizona they play the Royals too.
I think that is the case.
Which is just weird. So.
Well, both teams are splitting it up. Why
not? Yeah.
Why not?
Speaking of splits or twos, Sean Bouchard, 2 hits yesterday. You like to see that. Stole a bag. That's it.
These boys are stealing bags this spring.
It's going to be interesting. On Thursday's show, I'm really looking forward to talking with Christopher Crawford from RotoWire because I'm curious with the probable increase in stolen bases this year. Like, in fantasy leagues, are guys who are burners, like, are they going higher or are they dropping? Because now you could have Elias Diaz and Brian Serven maybe combining for 10 stolen bases. Could be something like that. Right? Didn't we find out, or maybe this was when you weren't here, I think like the record for most stolen bases by a lifetime by a catcher is 12 by Joe Girardi. So we could
you've mentioned this to me before.
Yeah, we could almost see that this year, maybe combined with Serven, Elias Diaz, maybe Willie McIver if he gets a call up. Like that would be kind of interesting to see. Ryan Feltner, looked all right in his 2 innings, gave up 6 hits, walked a couple guys, 3 strikeouts. You like to see that. Carl Kaufman, 3 innings pitched, did not give up a run. So positive outcome for him in general. Pierce Johnson came out of the game on Sunday. Sounds like he's okay. It was somewhat precautionary, but we can't lose any more folks.
I know, we really can't. I loved what Buddy had to say about taking Pierce out of the game after the fact. He was like, oh, yeah, it was totally precautionary. Like, we're sure he's fine. But he didn't want to come out of the game because he was pitching against someone who went to his high school.
David Bodie.
That's
right.
And he was like, no, like, I got to get him out. I got to finish it. So Buddy was absolutely cracking up over this. I'll cut a clip and we'll show it later on in the week. But it's pretty funny. Buddy's so funny. It's just so fun to talk to him again this spring.
He's relaxed. I think last night on MLB Network, they went to Rockies camp, and that's we're starting to see the clips of Brent Suter doing his Raptor impression.
Gosh.
And the guys were just basically saying, like, if you can't play for Bud Black, like if you've got a problem there, you've got a problem, because like he's just one of those kind of guys where he gets along with everyone. I think one of them might have been Greg Amsinger said, or no, maybe it was Harold Reynolds. He said that Bud Black is like the physical embodiment of San Diego. And I was like, I guess I could kind of see that. Again, just the upbeat part, right? And always kind of having a relatively sunny demeanor, right?
Yeah.
I could see that.
Ooh.
That works.
Very nice.
I did really like what Bud Black had to say about Brad Hand, because we yesterday's show, you played a clip of Brad Hand, an old familiar face when he was in, San Diego. You also saw him in the World Series last October, which is kind of cool to think that the Rockies have a former participant in the World Series. First time ever. I'll be writing about that later today.
Okay, teasers. Let's go.
But I love what Bud Black, a left-hander himself, had to say about their new acquisition of reliever Brad Hand.
Well, we took a blow with Gilbreth being injured, so we felt as though we needed to solidify our bullpen with another left-handed pitcher. Again, this was a situation where we had interest in Brad. Brad had interest in coming to the Rockies, so we're excited to get him. He has another veteran presence down there with Lamet and Johnson and Suter to go along with Bard. Experienced relievers, you got to have them. So he's coming off a good year with the Phillies. Hopefully he can do that again for us. He's a quality pitcher and a quality guy. So, again, we're going to get him in shape. He's been throwing. He's been fine. We'll get him up to speed quickly.
We are. Is this studio haunted?
Our lights just blinked, and that was very, very strange.
We're still live on YouTube, thankfully.
Are we still live?
We are still alive at the corner of Colfax and York.
Are we doing an ad
which
read?
is fantastic. 15% off all your beer and drinks, unless the power is out. And then at that point, I don't know. We'll see.
You can still pour drinks when the power is out. The kitchen's the question. I was at a restaurant in Albuquerque on my way to spring training when the power went out, and it was chaos.
Was that during the high winds? We were both passing each other at the same time.
So, yeah, that was the day that you were driving back. I was driving to spring training. Sorry to interrupt this DNVR ad read, but it's fine. We work there. But I had to delay my departure by like 2 hours because there was a dust storm warning. Bad. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to F around and find out what it's like to drive through a dust storm. But yeah, I was like, okay, let me get breakfast at this place called Wex. It is a very popular spot in Albuquerque. Great breakfast. But there was such a wait because it was like a Sunday.
Yes.
And the power went out, and I'd already ordered my food, and they were like, oh, no, we can start making it because, like, we already started it before the power went out, but, like, everyone else was just so screwed.
That's the kind of guarantee that we have here at the DNVR bar. We don't need power. It's overrated.
The taps still work.
We are one of three, believe it or not. We're not the only one, but we are one of three restaurants that does come equipped with night vision goggles for everyone in the kitchen. So if there is no power, they will still be able to make the Bones Highland Burger. I think it's still on the menu.
Is
the
it?
Salmon Burger. I mean, it's delicious. I don't know if we've properly renamed it.
I don't know. Is it still around? Not for long.
How about
is.
Could we rename it the Ryan McSalmon? Salmon Burger? McSalmon Burger?
We're going to workshop it a little bit.
We will. It's delicious. I mean, they figured how it tastes in the kitchen here at the DNVR bar, but how we name it is a horse of a different color. You get 20% off all the gear at DNVRlocker.com. 20% off all the party buses when you are a diehard, of course.
And we have one coming up.
So make sure, April 29th against the Diamondbacks. That will actually be a game people will be excited to go to for numerous reasons. It's like, an April Diamondbacks Rockies game. Who cares? Now it is something to care about.
Yes.
You're welcome, Colorado Rockies.
You're welcome.
We are gracing you with our presence because it's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, you get access to the Diehards Only Discord, where there's wonderful conversations and people, giving tips on their fantasy leagues and just having really good conversations with different things that they like besides just the Rockies, but also pro wrestling. Everyone's excited that the Mega Powers are back together here in studio, right? Mega Powers. We're the Mega Powers, aren't we? Which of the Mega Powers are you? Again, this is going to blow up huge in the pro wrestling Discord. The Mega Powers? Are you more? You're going to be the Hulk Hogan, and I'll be the Randy Macho Man Savage, right? Of the Mega Powers,
Sure.
right? Because the blonde hair, you're
Yeah.
Hulk, and I'm Macho Man.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay.
We're the Mega Powers. We're back together for this show.
Yeah.
Yes, Mega Powers. Look, if you're lacking Mega Powers, I got to talk to you because you might be swinging late on your fastball from your significant other, and you might be failing to make some hard contact. Fear not, because the ultimate manager of the year is Roman. Roman is a digital health clinic for men, addressing a variety of those sensual health needs and offering genuine medication that helps and achieve and maintain. Roman offers a personal health experience on their website, special site. Go to ro.co.dnvr, so it's a little bit easier. It's Rockies, like first two in Rockies RO, CO like the state, or Colorado, and /DNVR. So ro.co/DNVR. Complete the questionnaire, get diagnosed by licensed physicians, receive free delivery and discreet packaging, ongoing care, even more. To learn more about how you can achieve your personal sexual health goals, go to ro.co/DNVR to get 20% off your entire first order. That's ro.co/DNVR. And if you've been hurt, Backus and Schenker are here to help.
I forgot.
It's been a month, but I don't forget.
We haven't done this in a long time.
I am the elephant of the podcast. Gladly do not forget. Backus and Schenker wins for Colorado families. They help those who've been seriously injured. For more than 25 years, they've won over $1 billion for their clients. And here is probably the best part. There's no upfront fee to speak with them. No fee even when they're working on your case. There's no fee unless they win their case and win money for you. It's fantastic. Again, $1 billion for their clients. They've got neighborhood offices in Denver, Aurora, Inglewood, and Fort Collins. They got the strength and power to win your case because they've got 30 lawyers on staff, 100 plus on the staff in general. They're going to help you with all kinds of injury cases that weren't your fault. Car accidents, motorcycle, rideshare, pedestrians, trucks. They can even help if you've been injured at work. So call them at 222-2222 to find out if you have a case for free, because Backus and Schenker wins.
I heard a rumor that the Backus and Schenker guys are going to visit the studio sometime soon.
And Backus and Schenker are going to be, they're going to be here. That's the day that I have to go into Green Mountain Dental. I have a dentist appointment. I hope I don't miss them. I hope they get in nice and early, though. Of all the days. No, it's not an every. I legitimately have a dentist appointment that day. I looked on the calendar. I was like, oh, man, I'm not going to be able to see them. I'm not going to be able to see Backus and or Schenker.
I am going to sing them their theme song. I can't wait to meet them. I feel like I'm meeting celebrities.
It is pretty cool.
They're Colorado celebrities, for
I think so. If you're on a bus, I mean,
their faces are everywhere.
That's big time.
More people know them than me.
I guess so. Well, you've cost people over $1 billion in wages, I think, more than you've earned them back. Well, here's something, too. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'll just say this because it won't get me in trouble because I don't want to ruin the surprise. But if you're on a bus, you're big time. You're in Colorado or maybe anywhere. If you are the voice of DIA when you get on the tram, that's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Get ready for a new voice coming.
Whose voice?
Is it a Nugget? Probably not. I don't cover that team. Is it a member of the Denver Broncos? Probably not. I don't cover that team. I'm going to leave it at that. That's all I can say.
Oh.
Again, maybe if you're in the Diehards Only Discord, I will drop that on you there. But all right, dark horse candidates to make the opening day roster.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Mike Moustakas because Ryan McMahon slides over to second base. Okay, great. There weren't a ton of second base candidates. Harold Castro, we know, is on the roster. He's kind of a dark horse, right? Alan Trejo. I don't know if you'd call him a dark horse because a lot of people think he probably should be there. We already know that name. Those are two good candidates at second base. But, Trejo, you maybe want him to play a little shortstop, third base. Castro's going to play all around. So you don't want to just have him in one spot, right? His value is to be able to play multiple positions. Well, you got Ryan McMahon to go over to second, and now you've got Elehuris Montero. You've got Nolan Jones who can play third base. Even Aaron Schunk can play a little bit of third base. And I think that is where maybe some of the frustration for fans right now going, wait a minute. Bill Schmidt said he did not want to block any of the young players coming up. He was talking about a 5-6 year deal for Brandon Nimmo, but yet at the same time, there are young guys on this roster right now that player like Mike Moustakas getting regular playing time at third base would be taking at-bats away from. And so I think some folks might be a little bit upset. It's a buy low candidate, no doubt, right? They're only going to be paying him the league minimum.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Cincinnati Reds will be paying him $18 million. How about that one?
Can we talk about your hot take tweet from the other day that like really just enraged me?
Was it a hot take or was it just, hey, I'm just telling you the facts? Right? It's almost a 3-team trade between the Rockies, Reds, and Cardinals, where the Rockies get Mike Moustakas and the Reds pay $18 million of his deal. They're actually paying $22 million because after the season was like an option, and so they've already gotten rid of him. So they're going to have to pay him another $4 million after the season. So it's really $22 million that the Reds are picking up. And then you've got $16 million going from the Rockies to the Cardinals to pay for Nolan Arenado's deal. It's a strange 3-team trade in a roundabout way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Except one of them is a generational talent.
Don't say that about Arenado because you know what? He's still at the top of his game. Okay. Oh, wait. I had it reversed. I'm sorry.
Patrick!
I didn't know if you were a big fan of the 3-time All-Star Mike Moustakas.
I mean, I am a little Greek, so, you know, we got to support those big, long Greek last names.
I guess that is Greek, huh?
Yeah.
Have you done the deep dive yet on the family tree to figure out
We could be related,
Is
honestly.
he related to any presidents or any speechwriters of presidents like George Stephanopoulos? Like, what are we talking about here?
You know what? I'm so mad that he arrived the day after I left.
That's right.
Because I could have been asking him these questions.
It could have been.
I know. We could have bonded over spanakopita.
That's it, in a container of Oikos or something like that. You know what I mean? That would have been a lot of fun, wouldn't it? But Moustakas, how do you feel about that? Again, a great buy low candidate over the last 2 years. He's really been hurt with Cincinnati. And again, the Reds are in a similar position to the Rockies where they're not going to contend. And they were just like, we'd rather just have the roster spot. We'll just pay you $22 million to disappear.
Yeah.
But the Rockies don't have that issue necessarily where they need somebody to fill a hole because Elehuris Montero and Nolan Jones are there in third base.
They're there.
And they're going to have some of their playing time kind of eaten up a little bit. If Moustakas does make the opening day roster.
If he pans out, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, you know, for this season, I think it's so great to have a presence like Moustakas who has won a World Series. He has that winning mentality. That is invaluable. Those are the intangibles that come along with signing a guy like this. In terms of how productive he will be baseball-wise, I don't know. But he says he feels a lot healthier right now, so good for him. We'll see.
Yeah. No, I do like that take because I always look back to the 2018 season when everyone wanted Tapia and Dahl from day one, and they got Para and Cargo. Well, you can start with Cargo and Para, and then bring the young guys in, but you can't go the opposite. If you get rid of Para and Cargo, they're just lost. And now what happens if one of the young guys goes? You're not going to be able to do anything down in AAA, so you're almost hurting your depth. So, yeah, you would like for Montero and Jones to get that playing time right away, but if they have to wait a little bit, also, I think Buddy could be really trying to create a little bit of a battle in camp and say, hold on, Nolan, hold on, Elehuris, you're not just going to be gifted this spot. You're going to have to battle for it. So there really is no guarantee that Moustakas will get that. He might have to start the year maybe in AAA because it was kind of a minor league deal that he signed. So there could be potential for him to start in Albuquerque. I think the over-under on like games played will be like 25. I think, you know, the hope is maybe he could be like Matt Holliday 2.0, where to your point, a really good veteran to have around to help with these young guys for a time and then step out when his time is over, like Holliday did in 2018. Or is it going to be more like Matt Adams from 2021, where it was like you almost forgot that he was on the roster for a period of time. And it was like, all right, well, that didn't work out, but I see what you were trying to do, and that's okay. So I see what the Rockies are trying to do, and I think it's okay. I think, again, by summertime, it'll all come out in the wash, and we'll just say, hey, you know what? They tried something, it did work, or even if it didn't work, there was no damage done necessarily. So I don't necessarily think the Rockies have gone away from their plan of leaving space for their young guys, because it's just a 1-year deal for a veteran guy to maybe just give a softer opening for a guy like Jones and Montero.
Yeah. Listen, we need to. I want to see Montero up at the majors. He was the prize of the Nolan trade.
He was.
Prize.
That's it. And the 3-team trade for Nolan Arenado, Mike Moustakas, and whatever else was going on. Logan Allen is I think he's almost no longer a dark horse. Would you probably put him in that slot as taking? Well, I take that back, because he was a dark horse, and then Saturday rolled around or Friday rolled around and Brad Hand showed up. And it was like, whoa, boy, hold on a second.
Yep.
I still think there's a chance that Logan Allen could make that opening day roster. We don't know if Brad Hand will be ready to go in time for opening day, so maybe he opens up the season on the 10-day IL, 15-day IL. That could happen, but Logan Allen is someone to keep an eye on still for these final 3 weeks of spring training.
You don't think Hand would be ready for the start of the season?
I think he probably would be.
He seemed pretty confident that what he was doing at home in Florida was spring training adjacent.
Yeah, I think there's a chance. I mean, I think it's helpful that the Rockies open up in warmer areas, right? Again, if he's with Cleveland like he was not too long ago, and you're like, man, it's cold. You know what? I need maybe a couple more starts down in the so-called warmth of Arizona, quote unquote.
Not warm when you were there, not warm when I was there, by the way. There was a morning where the backfields were unusable because they were frozen.
Hey, Arizona, what's going on right now with the weather?
Ridiculous.
Step your game up. Come on.
80-degree weather, and I got 30-degree weather.
What a bunch of crap. Did it also rain when you were down there?
Yeah, it poured.
Arizona weather, what are you doing?
I was like, I did not come to the desert to get rained on.
Very inappropriate.
So inappropriate.
That's why it's called
rude.
the desert, because it doesn't rain. And yet,
yes.
So what does that mean? What is that? Have you looked into the astrologies and
my
the
gosh.
crystal ballings and all those things to figure out
I
whoa,
don't have a crystal ball.
a rainy start to spring training in Arizona means
It's going to rain home runs in Colorado.
for the opposing team?
For everyone. It's going to be another chaotic season.
It sounds like it. Brendan Doyle is one of those dark horses. I love every morning. I don't know if you get the MLB morning lineup emails, but I like looking at them, just to see if there's any discussion of the Rockies.
Yeah.
So if they say, 30, prospects that are, making us take notice in spring, I go, okay, the Rockies are going to be there. Thumb all the way down to the bottom, because the Rockies are always the last. They start with the American League and then they start with the East. Okay, fine. But even when they say bounce back candidates, things of that nature, just looking for a Rocky, and I'm always curious what the names are. So Thomas Harding said, hey, Brendan Doyle could be one of those guys. Again, Jonathan Daz is your starting center fielder. After that, who goes in there? Who takes that spot from him? Should he get injured, or should there be some kind of snags? Brendan Doyle is that guy in center field. He's a dude. He's a dude to watch.
He's a dude to watch for sure. And I know a lot of us talk about him behind the scenes too a lot. And he's got potential. And short for potential. Yeah,
he looked really good in a short stint last year in AAA Albuquerque. So, again, you see a lot of guys that were AA and AAA last year, but it was only for a short amount of time. So, we'll see them this year. I know last year was a lot about the major league debuts, and they had all those young guys. I think this year kind of has that potential too for, 6 or 7 guys making their major league debut that you're also genuinely excited about this year.
What is the over-under on guys debuting this year?
Oof. I haven't set a line. I'm going to say I feel like it might have to be 5. I don't even know if I can set it at 4.5 or 5.5. I think it's going to be up there. It might just have to be 5, and we might have to push, you know what I mean, if we get 5. But I think we still could see a lot. Again, going back and looking at some of those names that are in AA and AAA that are going to be a part of the future. And as the Rockies have been, with Bill Schmidt in charge, he's been a little bit more aggressive with the promotions, promoting guys straight from AA, like he did with Noah Davis last year and Gavin Hollowell. And you say, okay, let's get these guys ready for the future. Let's give them some opportunities, some caps, as they would say in soccer. And so I think that trend is definitely going to continue. One of the trends that I've noticed that's really great for saving a couple bucks in your pocket is game time.
Yes,
because
Patrick.
That's the thing that a lot of people have been reaching out to me, and I've seen on our DNVR Rockies account. Spring training, hey, this game is sold out. Or the games at Sloan Park in Chicago, they sell out. Game time tickets. Go there, park. by parking or walk in from wherever. And an hour before the first pitch, boom, you can get up to 60% off the face value of those tickets. Game Time is making it really, really easy to score fantastic seats to all the events that you want to go to, whether it's sporting or whether it's music. Comedy events too. If you're talking like Boulder Theater, there's stuff going on. The Rialto up in Loveland. There's there's theater acts that are there that do an amazing job. Have you ever heard of Brian Regan?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Gary Goldman. Jim Gaffigan. How about Jim Gaffigan?
I know Jim Gaffigan.
There we go.
Yeah.
Theater act. So he's a guy who's going to sell at theaters. He doesn't go to the clubs anymore. He needs a big venue. And so tickets might sell out, but Game Time is going to have you all hooked up. Hit the link in our description to save and join over 15 million folks who have saved and who have enjoyed with Game Time. As we said, and as we know, it is baseball season. Football is dead. R.I.P. I don't hear anything about Geno Smith getting $100 million.
I don't want to hear anything.
Have you ever heard of Geno Smith, by the way?
Yeah.
That's a no. Are you sure?
No.
Okay. Wait, no, you're not sure? You shouldn't know him. But this is what the NFL is. If you're a backup quarterback and you have like half of a good season, you get $100 million. I don't like that. I don't. But that's football. And why are we talking about it? Because it's dead. It's
Why
baseball
are you doing
season.
this right now, Patrick?
It's baseball season. It's RotoWire season.
Yes.
In fact, I was on the site. I hadn't gone to it in a little while, and when I was using it during the off season as a tool to try to find some things for both my fantasy league and both just for knowledge and information, because they do an amazing job of like following anyone who's ever been giving a press credential. So like if someone is injured or someone is like banged up or is limping and hobbling, they're going to have that like bulletin immediately. So they'll have like a little note about, Ezequiel Tovar was, limping and didn't take grounders before the game like he normally does. And you go, oh, that's important. I might not put him in my lineup tonight. Clayton Kershaw's pitching. Oh, it was already going to be a tough setup. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and bench Tovar. They've got all of those kind of really good features and really good tools. And they've got even more that I've noticed. They've got like top 400 prospects, which is different than the actual prospect rankings, because in fantasy sports, now you're counting certain values for like, again, stolen bases are really valuable. So you might have a player like Zach Veen who might not be as good as some other top prospects, but if he's stealing 40, 50 bases, now his value is worth that much more in a fantasy league. And RotoWire has all those amazing tips. They're giving a 2-day free trial, which doesn't require to use your credit card. So
That's
it's not
unheard of.
It is unheard of. Like we all know that's the deal. And you go, fine, I'll just call and cancel. They're not going to get my money.
I always get tricked because
And
I
then you
always forget to cancel. Can you imagine me always forgetting to cancel a trial?
Well, how about this? I never get tricked, and I've been tricked recently. My streak ran out. I've gotten tricked once, maybe 2 times in recent memory. So after a run, after 10, 15 years of not getting that trick, I've been tricked. Like it's possible. It's very plausible. But you don't have to worry about that trick for RotoWire because, again, it's a 2-day free trial. You can get premium fantasy draft kits, custom start, sit, add, drop, trade advice, lineup optimizers. They've got NASCAR, soccer, and XFL. I know you're excited about joining an XFL league. Are you starting a channel in our Diehards Only Discord for the XFL talk? Or is that just built into the Broncos?
You know what? I would assume it's built into the Broncos, but the Broncos fan might not be receptive to that.
All right, so you're going to do a separate
I'm going to
XFL
start a
fantasy.
separate XFL fantasy chat in the Discord.
This is why you need to be a diehard, folks. This is why.
What you're missing out on.
Absolutely. Take a peek behind the paywall. Head to rotowire.com/DNVR. Again, when your trial is done over 2 days, then you could decide if RotoWire package is right for you. Hint, it will be. It very much will be. From that same article about MLB talking about sleeper candidates to make the opening day roster, one of those for the Dodgers is Jason Hayward. Yes, that Jason Hayward. He might even be the starting center fielder for the Dodgers this year. And you go, oh no, Jason Hayward, not been great the last couple years. His biggest claim to fame probably was just a really good speech in 2016 World Series when it was raining. It's like, hey guys, let's win this World Series. It'll be awesome. And then they did. And then, he showed up to the ballpark and, wasn't great after that. But now with the Dodgers, and he's got kind of has something to prove, it's going to be probably a really good year for Jason Hayward.
I hope it is. I want him to be known for more than a really great speech.
Yeah. Well, he'll be remembered for more than that, but more recently,
Yeah.
it's the speech.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Cincinnati has a 21-year-old shortstop, Ellie De La Cruz. So kind of almost a mix of Ezequiel Tovar and Zach Veen. Again, 21 years old, can play shortstop, can steal some bases, 10th overall prospect in all of MLB. Only played a little bit at AA last year, so again, there'll be some wait and see in that. But he's kind of in the same spot as Zach Veen. So he's someone to keep an eye on. Sam Hilliard is a guy that should be breaking camp with Atlanta this year.
I am excited for Sam Hilliard's new journey. A change of scenery does so much for a player.
It does. No, it really does. And it's nice to see that he's getting that. It might be like a year or two late for that change of scenery. Like Garrett Hampson's another one of those guys where maybe a change of scenery. I think when you say change of scenery candidate, you're talking about guys that have flashed like almost otherworldly potential, and it just hasn't come together for one reason or another, and they need a reset to like get back to those levels. And Sam Hilliard has been that guy where he's had those flashes of great speed. Just 5 tools. He's a 5-tool guy. And so I think in Atlanta, that just seems like a team and an organization where he's going to shine a lot more. And his numbers, even if his numbers are kind of the same or similar to Colorado, I think his play will be appreciated more because now he'll be the 7th or 8th guy in the lineup rather than a player that everyone wants to like break out and be like, hey, we need you to be one of the cornerstones of this team. I don't think a ton of fans really thought that for the Rockies, but you wanted that to be the case. I don't think anyone wants or needs for that to happen in Atlanta. So he's just going to be able to be Sam Hilliard, and I think that's going to be appreciated more. And he's going to be a good supplemental piece for that team
In a
in
way,
that division.
In a way, it's kind of less pressure.
I think so.
Less pressure for him.
I think so, yeah. So who was the extension candidate you were thinking about to either short-term extension or a long-term extension?
You know, I was thinking, call this a crazy take, Charlie Blackmon, get him to be a Rocky for life.
Yeah, 2-year deal could, with maybe even a team option for the 3rd year, I think works. It sounds almost hypocritical because I just said, hey, don't block these young guys. And then we're talking about bringing back, a 37-year-old outfielder. But it's not just any player.
It's different.
It is very much different with Charlie there and kind of being that leader of the clubhouse. I mean, you got Chris Bryant there, and with him being healthy, I think we'll start to see him, take that leadership role a little bit more. So on the field, he was doing it behind the scenes. We didn't see that as much, but on the field, I think you'll see that. But I'd welcome a nice little 2-year deal. So a 1-year extension for Charlie. Again, that's club friendly so that he can finish as a Rocky, which would be nice. And we can see, and we saw it in spring training, we can see Veen and Blackmon going back to back in the lineup. That was cool to see in spring training.
That would be so cool to see in the regular season too. Did you see Charlie Blackmon on MLB Network yesterday?
That way he was talking with Greg Amsinger and Dan Plezak, or did he was at another spot?
Yes, that's the spot I'm talking about. Right outside of the Rockies Arizona clubhouse.
Beautiful complex.
Beautiful complex. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He's still doing the thing, man.
But yeah, Charlie is also just what a personality.
He is.
And also just loved hearing him talk about how going into his 13th season, he's like, yeah, this just kind of worked out perfectly. I want to be here. They want me here. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the good times going.
Great point. Yeah, no, he's grateful. Again, he's grateful for that. And, I think we're grateful to have that. And that would be really weird for him to kind of go somewhere else.
It'd be so weird. And
it's not so much like the timing because you're almost like, hey, go. And, I think a lot of people out there are kind of happy for Nolan. Like, yeah, go out, have that success. We're glad you're able to have that. It's a shame that it wasn't here. I think people would feel that way about Charlie. But then you'd look back and in 4 or 5 years' time and even beyond that, you go, oh, that's right. He wasn't entirely a Rocky. And so it just dulls it a little bit.
It's too late in his career for him to... He's not going to go out and do what Nolan Arenado is doing for some other team.
That's true. It would be interesting to see, who else played 13 years with the team and then only wrapped up their last part of their final season. I know it's happened before, but it is just weird to get that close to the supposed finish line. I think Ezequiel Tovar is another guy that could get an extension. It might be too soon for that. But if you look back at a guy like Ozzie Albies, who was signed after his age 21 season.
Oh, good point.
He was already an all-star. That was a criminally low deal for 7 years, $35 million. But the thing about it is, again, too, that's guaranteed money. We could speculate all we want about how good Tovar will be and how much he'll make in arbitration before he gets to free agency. But if you sign an extension of 7, 8, or 9 years and you give that kind of a deal to Ezequiel Tovar, that's guaranteed money that Ezequiel Tovar doesn't have right now and can't bank on having. Until he gets it, there's no way of knowing how much he'll actually make. So that kind of deal could work out, really well. And again, with a couple of options too, that could get a little bit larger, which it did for Albies and ultimately is going to be a 9-year, $49 million deal.
Do you remember when the Phillies gave all that money to Scott Kingery before he even debuted?
Yeah.
Wild.
Him, Jonathan Singleton, who actually was a former Rockies prospect. I think he came over in the Hunter Pence deal. Do you remember the Hunter Pence era for all of like 2 months?
Oh, I try not to.
I was actually very excited at that time. I was like, okay, this is a good guy. And then it didn't work out. And they immediately just shipped him off to San Francisco for Tommy Joseph. And it wasn't a good deal. But I think that kind of a deal would work out really well. But speaking of the Phillies, the spring training story that I think is one of the best that, again, depending on where you're looking for your stories, you may not have heard of. But do you know the name Noah Song?
I've heard the name.
So he was drafted last year during the winter meetings in the Rule 5 draft, was taken out of Boston's system, and he pretty much had a minimal chance of even showing up at spring training this year. Why? Because he was enlisted in the United States Navy. So...
Wild.
Yeah, he was a serviceman, and Phillies kind of picked him up as a flyer going, this guy was really good when he played like 3 years ago. 2019, I think was the last time he played.
It works out well because there's a huge Navy base in Philly.
Okay, there you go.
So
I like that.
like, he can do both.
Well, I guess Noah Song and the Phillies got lucky. The stars aligned, and he got, I don't know all the military terms. What did he didn't get dismissed. He got discharged. I think he still has to do some service time.
Was he honorably discharged?
He definitely wasn't dishonorably. Yeah, he would have been honorably. No, but he keeps he's in the reserves now, basically.
Oh, okay.
And he keeps his rank. So now when he pitches, he's Lieutenant Junior Grade Noah Song.
That is such a badass title.
Right? That's
really
so
cool.
badass. That's how he should be announced, right?
Yeah, I kind of hope they do that.
That really would be. Dave Dombrowski, the GM, who obviously took him in the Rule 5 draft, was his general manager back in Boston originally, right? That's where he was at, so that's lined up.
World.
Dombrowski said, I don't know if he's going to throw 85 or 95, but we feel it's worth the gamble. We feel it's worth the risk. So
I love that.
It's kind of amazing. He only had 17 innings pitched in Short A baseball with the Lowell Spinners at the time. 1.06 ERA.
Yes.
R.I.P. They went away.
I know. Oh, because I have family up there. Like I have family from Lawrence. So yeah, I know the Lowell Spinners all too well.
Yeah, I've got in-laws from that area, so I actually have a Lowell Spinners cap.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, they were kind of on the way out even before minor league baseball shrunk because the Worcester Sox, the Woo Sox, kind of moved into that area, and so it was the same ownership group. They were about to move anyway. Then minor league baseball killed those 43 teams. So R.I.P. Lowell Spinners. They might still be like a summer collegiate team. You know what I mean? One of those deals,
the
but
stadium's still there. Yeah,
it's not necessarily the same. And I think their mascot was like a gator. I don't know. I think it might have had to do something with a story about gators being in the sewer system.
Oh, I don't remember now.
It's like one of those subtle things where not on all, because like there was a sewing factory there. Maybe a Singer. Maybe the Singer, it was the factory for the sewing machines were there. Yeah. So that's what spinners are. They're not spinning curveballs. They're spinning yarns. And so it would always be like a spool. That was the spool was like their logo. So, but yeah, Noah Song, we'll see what happens. Now he'll have to stay on the team the entirety of the year, or else they'll have to give him back to Boston. But 25 years old, and he could be, again, it's a great story. So you really hope that he's able to stick and on a team that is, could be going to the postseason. So a lot of times when you have a Rule 5 guy, it's someone like you're almost hiding on your roster to say like, well, we want you to be a part of this organization going forward. We can't use you this year, but we'd like to have you this year. We'll kind of work around it. There can be some shady behaviors, if you will, when Rule 5 drafts, as far as that's concerned. But Noah Song might get a chance. And might even go to the postseason with the Phillies this year.
That would be fun.
It's a cool story.
That is such a cool story. I wish my grandfather was around for this because he was raised a Red Sox fan. He's from the Lowell area.
Okay.
Moved to Philly because he moved there after he was in the Navy. And then, so he would have been a big fan of Noah Song.
There you
It would
go.
have been a big song. Just checks all those boxes for him.
That's it. I like that. That's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely hope that comes to fruition for Noah Song. I think don't the Phillies come into town early this year? I know they did last year.
So usually the Phillies are in town like around 420, which
was
I always
last
think
year.
is so funny.
Yeah.
This year, the Rockies go to Philly April 20th. And then I think the Phillies are back in May. So kind of early.
Yeah. So basically, you've got like about 6 weeks before you're working on your 4,000 word article on Mike Jasperson taking down his own cheesesteak record. That's folks. That's why you went down to Arizona. You got all the quotes.
I do have more info on his cheesesteak plans for when they go to Philly, but I can't tell you. It was off the record.
Wow, you might have to tune in tomorrow or Thursday. That's good FAC content. I don't know. We'll see. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at DNVR_Rockies. At Patrick D. Lyons is where I'm at on Twitter.
And you can find me at the Susie Hunter on all platforms.
This has been excellent.
It has been. It's
a
good
mega show.
I don't know what that means, but it's good
Mega
to
show?
have the gang back together.
It is, the gang's all here. Can we pluralize gang if... Oh, wait, gang isn't plural. The gang is all here. I didn't pluralize it. I just ownership of gangs. The gang's all.
Good to hear you overthinking again in person.
Yeah, well, there's only 2 of us, so is that really a plural?
Yeah.
It is. And on that note,
close
make
the show.
make sure you're tuning in tomorrow. Special guest Daniel Allentuck. And maybe, just maybe, we could gain some of that momentum back because that's something that I say. So tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. on the DNVR Sports channel on YouTube.